Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 95, and today we're going to be playing the Yordles with Inspiring Light. And so, if you've been following along with the gauntlets, we have touched on this here recently. Our previous gauntlet video, we just played three decks inspired by the Inspiring Light, and I'm taking one of those out of here in the Yordles deck to display a little bit further. And so, just kind of like all the decks aside, and just from kind of a theoretical standpoint, I think Inspiring Light is kind of interesting. I personally come from a Magic background to where every magician would look at this and say it's just trash. But that's kind of like a different world and a different scope, right? In Magic, you could play an enchantment or an artifact like Glorious Anthem, use that to boost your team, which you have a little bit more agency over when your units get boosted, and it's never just kind of completely dead, right? If we play a card like Inspired Light this turn and then play a unit next turn, it doesn't get any bonuses. But if we play a Glorious Anthem in Magic and then play a unit next turn, that unit still gets the bonus. The kind of more recent and better way to go about these kind of things in Magic would be with the various lords. And so Lord of Atlantis is what comes to a boomer like me. Lord of Atlantis is the old one, and having this effect, on a unit is just upside, right? Playing a 2/2 for 2 mana with upside is just a good thing. Has all of those bonuses that you would get out of having the Glorious Anthem on board, except it can attack and block and do things like that. Now, the next kind of iteration of gaming, I don't remember how things were in Hearthstone, but I think it's a fairly good comparison in terms of Runeterra. And then in Hearthstone, you were board stacked, right? You were limited to the amount of units that you could put on the board, and that's where Inspiring Light becomes a little bit more interesting, right? If we're say what I thought was interesting with this when we're playing Runeterra, and say we're playing a deck like Yordles here or playing a deck like Scouts, very easy to get 6 units on the board and then have like 3 or 4 units in your hand, and you have to make the decision: do I want to just like do nothing, just deal with what I have? Do I want to take some card disadvantage and overwrite something on the board? Is that overwrite better than just leaving and attacking with what we have down? And the kind of interesting space that Inspiring Light gives us is, if we do have that full board and we do want to get more stats down, we don't have to erase anything we already have on board. We can just play this for the full 12 stats for 2 mana, which is a pretty good deal. And then we don't have to deal with overwriting anything. And so that's the kind of like main and core concept with it. The kind of problem you run into these cards is you can run into hands where you just need to play a unit and you don't have it. You might have a board to where you only have 2 units on board and this is all you can do. 4 stats for 2 mana isn't quite worth it. But once you're up in the realm of getting 6 stats for 2 mana, then it's not that big of a deal. It's a pretty good deal, just stat-wise, once you get up to 6. And so with those kind of concepts in mind, you're looking to, completely fill out the board. It's just something that works very nicely with this Demacia package that we see so much of these days, is to where you're playing the Fleet Feather Tracker, you're playing the Bright Steel Protector, you're playing the Petricite Broadwing and the Durandi Sculptor. And so you have this like really powerful and strong early game package, and then you have the means to still control your opponent's board without losing any of your units. So the big and number one thing that we're going to be looking to do with this deck is to interact with our opponents, take their units down while we don't lose ours. That is the kind of big and core concept here. If we want to get advantages out of Inspiring Light, if we want to get advantages out of Poppy, we need to have units on the board. And so that's where we're going to like start with as our kind of like point of comparison and the point of things of doing with this deck is, get your units down, control your opponent's board, get some challenges in, but try not to let your units die in the process. And so I often find that it's best to just not attack sometimes, right? There's a lot of decks that are pretty happy to just come out and trade their Fleet Feather Tracker right at the beginning of the game, but that's not always the case with a deck like this. And so from a kind of like really quick and general gameplay plan, we're going to mulligan for Fleet Feather Trackers, Bright Steel Protectors, Durandi Sculptors, Petricite Broadwings. We want to have these really interactive starts. We want to build up a board, and then we want to boost that board in some way, be it either with Poppy or with the Inspiring Light. And so, those are our big and core ideas. The last thing to kind of make note of here is we are playing the Golden Aegis. That is our big kind of game finishing style thing. And so, as we always talk about with these formats, you have to either be able to overwhelm, you have to be able to be elusive, or you have to be able to rally. We have the rallies here with the Golden Aegis. And one of the kind of like interesting things you'll see how this deck plays out, you see it a little bit more with scouts than you would see with like a Yordles deck here. But you do have lots of games to where you don't play anything in the first turn, then you play a 2-drop, and then you play a 2-drop on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you play 2 more 2-drops, or you play a 1 and a 3, and then at that point you have 4 units on the board and 2 spell mana, and that's a pretty fantastic place to be dropping Inspiring Lights, especially when a lot of your units are challengers. And so I'm pretty sure that situation will come up at least once these days. I make note of the difference between Scouts and this because we do play the Yordle Squires in here, which don't appear in Scouts, and you do tend to have a lot more game setups to where you have a 1-drop that kind of gets in the way of that Inspiring Light play on turn 4 or turn 5. But we'll see if it comes up, and we'll try to make mention of it as those things come along. But with that being that, let's go ahead and pull up the deck. I think we have it completely ready in terms of pay to win, but let's take a peek real quick. And okay, yeah, I think we're looking good here. Everything is premium. We make our way down, premium, premium, premium. Even Lulu's premium here. It's just Paparo, the new Bro, and Poppy that haven't been given the prismatic treatment. And so, as far as I'm concerned, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get ourselves into battle. Cool. And so, yeah, I think it's not the exact same list that I was playing in the Gauntlet. I believe I took out a Paparo for a Bandle City Mayor. I don't remember the exact numbers I was running in it. I think it came down to Conchologists, Bandle City Mayors, and Paparos, and we're playing this kind of 2-2-2 split now. And so it's tough for me to decide. Like historically, I would think that you're looking for a 3 and a 3 and a 0. Right, so it would be like 3 Conchologists, 3 Paparos, 0 Bandle City Mayor. It's just like one of them should be better, one of them should be second best, and then you just don't play the third one. But I can't quite hone in and nail down which one of those I feel would be the best or not. But okay, so with a hand like this, it's a reasonable enough start. I would ideally have some kind of challenger in here, but up against Sentinels, they don't have that many early game style targets, and so this 1-2-3 curve should be okay-ish. It would be nice to have a challenger with Lulu, but still coming in with this massive amount of power on the 4th turn is pretty reasonable and strong. And I'm going to go with the sword here. I've been finding like more and more times where I just want the shield, and this is a Vile Feast based deck, so we may want to have some shields at some point, but if you're unsure, I find it to just be better to take the spear. Okay, we should be safe with Lulu next turn. The Broadwing can handle anything he throws at us. The Spiderling is not big enough to take down Lulu. Okay. Yordle Smith ready for them quick attacks. Looks good, looks good. Like, I'm going to just lead in with Paparo here. It's a slightly awkward board in that I want to play like a Bright Steel and a Yordle Smith next turn, and I want to make all of our mana just work out nicely. But let's see. Let's see how this goes. Gruff Grenadier, I'm not exactly sure how good our impact looks. We're probably like coin flipping in terms of the Grenadier. Okay, so let's come in. I'm going to protect Lulu. This is be a turn where opponent might be pretty interested in playing a Jace, and Jace would be a fair block onto her. We do have the tiny spear, but I'm kind of like looking at this turn and saying, okay, I want to get down the Yordle Smith, and then I want to be ready in combat with the sharp sight. I don't really want to be spending the spear this turn. It's going to Vengeance Lulu. That would be kind of cool. Shock Blast, less cool. But this is a decent enough space for a sharp sight. Protect our Broadwing here. It leaves us in like a bit of a bummer of a spot, given that we can't take down these Hextech handlers exactly how we want. Can we actually do it? hang on. Well, we don't have the mana now. We can drop the Yordle Smith. But how does this work? We can have Paparo boost both of our Yordles. I think we're stuck just with this like Lulu plus Broadwing attack now. It's not particularly exciting, but I don't want to just trade a single unit into the Hextech Handler. Well, ooh, I guess the other option here is we do still have this Brightsteel Protector. And we can Brightsteel Protect our Broadwing. Maybe that's the way we go. I don't really want to lose it here. Then he's all grown and ready for the next battle. Okay, so he can take a value block onto Paparo. Our Lulu's going to be a 4 attack. We should be coming in for 7 here. Not bad. Oh, he blocks into the Brightsteel. Protects for a point of damage now, but potentially loses out on more in the future. Okay. Not particularly worried about this Hextech Handler. We're looking to open attack next turn. And so, like, a Shock Blast here would be kind of unfortunate, but kind of is what it is. Are you all ready to roll the dice? Do you think we can high roll this today?
Every squad's got a heavy.
Missed. Okay. I mean, how dangerous is it if we don't open? We can, like, hit for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the impact 8, 9, 10. I was kind of leaning, it's like, well, I want to play Conchologist to generate a spell and see where that kind of gets us for the next turn. And this is kind of okay. The Prowling Projectile is very good when he only has this, like, 1 health tech on the board. And he's already played 2 techs, so we don't have to worry a ton about him having the 3rd one. If we get to take the tech down with the Prowling Projectile, that has the potential to be pretty big. Okay. I'm on board. And then we still have this 7 mana. We can Yordle Smith, Bandle City Mayor, Prowling Projectile, however we want to go about it. We have some options there. Big Yordle heavy board for Paparo as well. Opponent thinking real hard on this 1 mana. It's a tough set of 1 mana to be using. Interesting with the Inspired Light. It gives us more stats than the Yordle Smith. Or I'm sorry, than the Bandle City Mayor. It's just like it's slightly awkward dropping the Yordle Smith. It's a pretty high valued target for opponent, but I think this is okay. You didn't survive the day. It's all right, my dude. You tried. Yeah, Paparo is such a high value target here as well. It's like I don't really like spending our projectile on just the single unit, like the 1 health unit here, but like Paparo grants so much health, and then the Gruff Grenadier is like such a high value target after that. Okay. So now, which do we get more damage out of, right? We can play... The Inspired Light's going to give us 3 damage. The Bandle City Mayor is going to give us 3 as well. But we can't play the Spear. I think this is fine. Maybe give us a little bit of Thunder for next turn. I think I'd rather go wide with the Tenor of Terror than tall with the Furious Feyfolk. Just if we like go Feyfolk and then opponent has another Piercing Light or a Vengeance or something, gets to be a little bit awkward. Nice. Take him down. Mark it a W. W for the Yordles, please. All right, let's get this deck tracker up. I'm sorry about that. Okay, should be up now. Here's that. It looks like it's up, am I right? I'm always right. Okay, so not such a great start. We're on the even attacks this time, so we can't just like lead out with a Lulu. This is the kind of hand I'm like pretty tempted just to come in and full mulligan. We're against Sejuani Azir though. I'm not real sure what this collection of champions is looking to bring at us. Maybe this is okay just in terms of If they're playing some kind of like weird off-meta deck, then we just want to come at them with the most straightforward draw that we can, right? It's kind of like in the lands of poker, when it's like you sit down and you're playing against a bunch of dum-dums. You don't sit around and try and make real fancy plays. You don't try to bluff. You just sit around and you do your best to just make value bets. And maybe that's kind of the stance we take against this off-meta number. But here, like, what would he be dropping? Like, I don't know. Like, all I can think of as kind of like on meta cards would be the various 3/2 overwhelms out of Freylord, and then things like Rockhopper out of Shurima, and all of that plays poorly into Yordle Smith. So we'll drop the Smith in place of something like the Sculptor. I could see an argument for playing a Conchologist, since he's an easy trade away if we want, but this worked out perfectly, right? He played his 2 health bro that we were just completely ready for.
The trap is set.
I guess the trap was not set, Mr. Trapper. GG. All right. Whew. Nice little set of battles. Getting the victories always feels good. It's the little victories that matter, right? Game break. It's like it wasn't making any sounds or noises or anything. I didn't know what was happening to us. Right, some Aphelios Fizz. And so this is much more along the lines of the kind of opening hands we're looking for. I won't hang on to Bandle City Mayor. I want something a little bit more interactive. This is kind of a value style mid to late game play. But I'm usually pretty happy to hang on to Poppy. A lot of decks you don't want to hang on to 4-drops, but she's so powerful that it tends to be okay. All right. Pretty powerful looking board we're starting to assemble here. This is a deck that plays Pokey Sticks, so I'll feel a little bit better to get Durandi Sculptors on the board. And then we should be lined up to have a pretty powerful attack next turn. I don't think they play too much interactivity outside of that. Here, we'll just take the damage. We get a free attack next turn with our Yordle Smiths. Ooh, does Lulu change anything here? Like, if opponent plays Aphelios, right? I think we're safe. Like, let's play the Yordle Squire. Now, if opponent plays Aphelios, we can sharp sight him down. And then if opponent just plays another small unit, we can still come in and make some plays on it. So we can take down this Gleaming Lantern. We're not going to have the opportunity to play more cards now. We can't let him just play something for free. And so we'll trade the Fleet Feather Tracker for the Lantern. Call it a day. I don't want to make trades with these other units when we have Poppy and the Yordle Smith in our hand. So it would have been nice to get the Yordle Smith down, but I'm not giving him the opportunity to use that mana. Gleaming Lantern number 2, we can't do anything about, is what it is. What are we going to have? We're going to have 5 mana next turn. Well, we can say, like, play Poppy now. I don't really like it. Let's add Lulu. Like, it's tough. Like, we're gonna get boned on our mana here, right? Ideally, we would do something like play Poppy this turn. The next turn, we play Bandle City Mayor. Bandle City Mayor reduces the cost of Lulu. But I wanted to be able to shut down these lanterns if we get the chance. So we're short a unit on board now, which kind of sucks, but typically the only interactivity you see coming out of these decks are either Pokey Sticks, Pale Cascades. You may or may not see a Hush, and then they're kind of counting on Aphelios weapons to carry the rest of the way. So We should be pretty strong here with this attack. Oh shit, I messed that up. We should have put Poppy to the right of Lulu. That was the intent. I think this attack's still going to work out okay, but this is not the way I meant for it to happen. That is a weird set of blocks. These blocks are... okay. So we're getting all of his lanterns. We get to maintain protection with the sharp sight. Sure. And say he's probably going to Aphelios, but the Aphelios 3 damage thing can't hit our champions. I think he'd probably pick up summon a 2-cost unit. That's what would make sense to me. Mm-hmm. Alright, well let's lead with the Mayor. This is one of these boards to where we can... Pompous Cavalier. We can get like a completely full set and then follow up with Guiding Light. Like, do we even care about losing Lulu? We probably do. It'd be a sad day to lose our Lulu.
A little reinforcement at the seams.
Okay. He still has Pale Cascade mana this turn, but otherwise, nothing too much to worry about. And are we going to play the Inspired Light so we get the Yordle Smith down, or are we just going to open? I feel like we should probably just open. His units are pretty small here.
Where's my hammer?
Does give him a chance to like potentially take down Lulu. Let's get the stats on board. He's gonna like go through the effort to take down our Lulu. It's pretty tough to do. Alright, make a noise. I still kind of feel like we should have just let Lulu fall, and then he's gonna stun Poppy. That's fine. I'm curious if we just like let Lulu fall, how this would have played out. Oh, he doesn't just stun Poppy. Interesting. Here comes the stun onto Poppy. Okay.
Our path is fixed. Now we must walk it.
Let's see if we can overpower the Aphelios here. He's not scary this turn, but he'll start to be scary next turn. Says, what are you doing, Bust? WTF, bro. Yeah, yeah. Should have known that he had it, but sure. Bird, just outright playing birds. Interesting.
Let's use all the colors.
Steady hands.
You're not a hero, right? It ends in silence.
Okay, so this is a space to where really need to pick up a rally. I think we should be fine. At least, like, the nice thing here is we've really worn down his board, and so he can't just, like, outright kill us with the big Nightfall Dragon, but I feel like we played this game wrong. It feels like things would be much better. Oh, Jesus, just nailing the Sky Shadows for the free mana. It feels like this game would have been a little bit better if we'd just managed to let that Lulu fall and then had an open attack on that previous turn. He got to do like a lot of stuff that I'm not super happy about. I don't care about this board. I think like Just want to see him play a bigger unit, and we'll Keeper's Verdict it away. It's just not going to happen. We're too far behind now. Maybe he'll like invest heavily in these moon weapons, and we can just Keeper's Verdict away the target. But I'm not feeling very good about this. Okay, this is just too much. And so yeah, like I feel like we could have. I think that was our problem. Was we just if we would just let that Lulu fall, and then we had filled out our board and played the Inspired Light, that we would have just been in a better spot. I'm not certain if like on that following turn if we would just opened, if it had been better. We were getting like pretty heavily invested in like playing that Inspiring Light, and I kind of feel like we should have just been like opening there, but I don't like how we played that game. I feel like if we got a redo, we might have been a little bit more successful there. Right. On to the Plunder deck. Twisted Fate, Sejuani, and Misfortune. So here I am going to go with the Yordle Smith. There's not a ton of plays that they could have that would get in the way of us challenging. And then I know we can't like Brightsteel Poppy on turn 4, but I do like having access to these Brightsteel Protectors to potentially protect a Poppy or a Lulu with when we're making our attack. We just shouldn't need it this turn. Make it rain, sure. Now where this kind of sucks, though, is if we want to play the Brightsteel next turn, then we don't have a great board. Okay. Broadwing always works. It's just passing. Weird. So it's like I want to get on board with something this turn. I don't think Poppy's the answer. It's like I want to get built up into some spell mana. Here she is. They shouldn't have a great answer to Poppy, though. I guess they like if we play Poppy and then they hit like Monster Harpoon, then I think that's still a pretty big win. Okay. This feels odd. Like, I'd feel much better if we just had some spell mana to go along with this turn. Alright, well. He didn't appear to have anything. I'm not real sure what's up with opponent here. If he just has the worst draw of the year or what. He's just not bringing anything. Seems like he just mulliganed into something terrible. Aegis, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, my dude.
Fortune favors the bold. You're covered.
All right, so assume he's going to be coming in with Zap. Nothing we can do about it. You can attack with Misfortune if he wants. I don't intend to ever block her. And then we'll swing back with the Aegis. It should be enough to sink this game. Yep. Such a fun and interactive rally. But even without the Aegis, we were getting built up to a pretty nice turn there, right? That would have been a decent space to drop a unit, drop an Inspiring Light, and then go into the next turn and just open. what do we got? This is a pretty poor matchup playing against any of the flavors of Viego. We'll try our best here, but this is one of the downsides to playing decks like this is they have a lot of the tools that just shut down what you're doing. Like when you drop a Fleet Feather Tracker and they're like, cool, here's a Vile Feast, and then you're like, all right, well, let's just give it a turn or two, and then they drop Camaveran Soldiers to shut down a lot of your attacks with the Ephemerals. Like, they have lots of great ways to just stop everything that you're doing. We'll try.
I pull the strings. You're covered.
I'm pretty interested in this Elise shutdown. Like, one of the ways that they'll really like come out and get ahead of you is just with this Elise and making the spiders and everything. I'd prefer to keep that idea to a minimum. Big draw on the Broadwing. We were kind of like stuck attacking with the Protector and playing a Durandi Sculptor, but the Brightwing lets us come out here and do some real work. Planned it that way. I knew what was going to happen. I don't know what the deal with the tracker is. Let me try and reload that. It's a good thing there's no open deck list. People would know all the sweet thunder we're bringing out here. Undergrowth is fine. It sucks to lose our unit, but this is basically a 2 mana for a 3 mana trade. It would have been a much stronger for him if he had the Vile Feast, but I was pretty confident he didn't have it at this point.
Skitter out from the darkness. I'll stop you.
Okay. Don't want to take trades here when we're about to go big with Poppy. And so let's take his unit off of the board. The idea with this hand is we'll play a Sculptor, next turn we'll play a Fleet Feather, and then we'll play Poppy. And this should hopefully do a couple of things. It should give him a chance to just kind of drain out a lot of his mana before we play Poppy. And then it should also just give us a chance to get maximum units on the board. He only plays one dude. I thought he was going to go for a Elise flip there, but not the case. Big EO. All right, I was going to say if he goes slow with his mana, then we'll go slow as well. We can have a pretty good turn with a Yordle Smith, but with him dropping Viego, we're just going to be making the attacks out here. Chew down here. I don't. Well, he's going to have a unit to kill our Brightsteel either way, so let's not be overly clever and just come down and kill the Elise. Disintegrate. Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna have a pretty close to full board, so this is the spot to where we need to like reload, and then we need to be dropping a golden Aegis pretty quick. We gonna play any of this stuff? Probably not. We're getting to the point where we're like running out of mana now, or running out of cards, and so I'm just gonna take the Scholarly Climber as the biggest one. We can still follow up with Lulu. Well, do we actually want to get a unit down that can contest Viego? Well, we're all big enough, right? We have a bunch of 3-power bros out here. Okay. And we have to open. Like, I don't think we can ever lethal here. We're going to be a little bit short, but it's just like, well, yeah, if he starts dropping like Camaveran Soldiers and gets 2 blockers, then the turn's just way too bad for us. So let's make sure we put 4 attack in front of Viego. Everybody else can just come in and attack. But I don't want him to say, like, block Lulu with this thing. Get the thing, whatever the encroaching mist, grow his Viego and not die to this attack. I want him to have to put forth a little bit more effort. Right? I think a lot of times this Viego does come in and just survive, but we have to try. If he flips, we're going to be in a real fucking problem. Okay, okay. That was positive. What do we got here? These cards all suck, but well, I shouldn't say they suck. When they're coming in for free from the conchologist, it's not that bad. Gonna go ahead and drop the scholarly climber here as well. Now it's just like we're just ready. If we draw a rally, we can just go for it. If we want to overwrite the Bandle City Mayor, it's not that big of a deal. Lulu's actually a pretty interesting draw here. Now that we get the shot to just whimsy the Legion Deserter, it's pretty sweet.
Buy me a brew.
LOL. Okay. Good job, Lulu. Opportune arrival. I kind of want to overwrite this Lulu, but I think we have enough on board. Like I just don't want her to die to some rando spell in the middle of combat. I don't think it's gonna matter here though. Okay. I would assume there's no Ravenous Flock if he's not using it right now. There's the rally.
all the colors.
Steady hands.
Beautiful.
And Hugify. Uh-oh, he's playing stuff. How bad could it be? Playing all kinds of stuff. Ravenous Flock. Atrocity. Game says neg 7. Aye. GG. Sweet. Always nice to take down a bad matchup. Navigated it perfectly. 100% perfect plays, FTP bust. Standard day, standard video. Nice. What's going on with these queues? Waiting 15, sometimes even 30 seconds? I miss it. I miss it. This was the time I got to impart my great life advice upon all of the viewers and followers. When we get these 3-minute queues or 3-second queues, I don't get as much time to come out here and bullshit. But all right, here I know it feels weird getting rid of the Yordle Squires, but we already have the good 1-drop in the Fleet Feather Tracker. We need to find some of our other high-powered stuff. Dealing with these Bard decks can be fairly frustrating, depending on how quickly they hit and what they hit with their boosting cards. No attack into our bird. Interesting. Why would you just keep the bell ringer back?
Quest will be over quicker and you can fry a ferret.
Kinda like what's he gonna do? He feels like a pretty worthwhile block for most of this stuff. Yes, bird. No. We're gonna have to get invested with it anyways. We can try and sharp sight it down next turn, but we didn't have a way around it this turn.
Soldiers, me.
Got this from a side quest.
Okay. Interesting. I'm surprised he's not doing stuff. Ooh, Poppy. I don't think Poppy's where we want to be. It's a slightly awkward board because I want to get the Yordle Smith down. This is okay.
Way to pick a pine cone? I'll show you.
Like I wish we had another cheap play that wasn't Bandle City Mayor. I'm looking to give Interesting. And so I'm looking to give our Yordle Smith the +1 attack. Why is he rallying here? Does he just have nothing to do? I'll pass. We'll see if like the turn just ends, right? If he doesn't make an attack on us, it's not that big of a deal. We can come out and just grow next turn. All right, I'm happy with how this looks now. So we can attack with the Yordle because it's going to have 4 attack, quick attack. This block with the dude is bad. We get the free hit in on the Broadwing. We're starting to build up. We're starting to build up. Kind of curious what their interactivity package is. Like, how much do we have to worry about single combats and concerted strikes? I don't care so much about combat tricks. Like, I want to be, like, ultra greedy now and just play Bandle City Mayor and then play Poppy next turn. But that play starts to suck when you kind of concede your opportunity to open with Poppy. And so let's see what he does and how much mana he spends here. Okay. Maybe I'm on board for this. We just play Poppy. Then we play the Inspiring Light and look to open. So like if he has a single combat, this is going to be horrible. But if we get to open here, this is going to be gigantic. Right, we've got a 4 attack, quick attack, and bird. Everyone else has quick attack. Now we're kind of set up to do things with like Bright Steel Protector and then following up with a Golden Aegis. All right, this game should be done. I don't foresee any interactivity coming out of them.
Got your back. Huh? Poppy? Did we switch quests?
Better get out of here, Peppy.
Better get out of here, Peppy. Who the fuck's Peppy? Poppy and Peppy? Is that really their names? Oh, you're better than that, Riot. All right, GG. Cruising right through Diamond with this number. Right through. Echo Zillion. Y'all remember the last time I just bitched about Predict? It's due. It's due. This is one of these matchups to where it's extremely favorable, depending on how fast your opponent hits a Hexite Crystal. And so if they play like the turn 1 cat, we're about to be in for a real fun time. Just in terms of how quickly they can draw it. That's typically all that matters in the game now. Is if they can draw the crystal real fast and AoE our board, we'll probably lose. If they don't predict into the crystal, then we'll probably just win. It's pretty straightforward. We can run into some trouble here. I was going to say, if he has the 2-3, then the Yordle Smith doesn't feel as good, but we're really only missing out on 1 point of toughness by landing the Yordle Smith on this turn. What you got in here, Bandle City Mayor? Protoporo? Play you for free? Sure. Comb my mustache. Ancient Prep. No crystals. Ancient Prep again. Let's see if he hits a crystal. That's all that matters here. We've got this board full of 2 healthy units. He hasn't hit a crystal yet, so go us. We did a good job. Ooh, that's a pretty interesting inspired light, given I think we just have to do it now. Like, he has the 2-3 health units at this point. Now, this should just be done, right? Because he has a good block onto our Protoporo. Do we even care? We probably care. Maybe we should have swapped this around. Like, just let Lulu into combat, and then boosted the Protoporo. The Lulu wouldn't have gotten quick attack, but none of his blockers would be good enough to take her down. Maybe that would have been the way to go about it. But he's down to one card at this point. He needs an Echo real bad. He's got the Echo. We've got barriers to drop in front of him, though. Okay, so I'm going to put the barrier on Vandal City Mayor. If he has like a Mystic Shot, we don't want to lose one of our good units coming out and blocking Echo.
Mustache ready.
Mustache ready.
Oh, I can fix that.
Okay, not worried about Mystic Shots at this point. He's gonna finally get his predict. A little late. Or is he gonna have another opportunity to his crystal and say, I think the crystal's probably a little late. You can still play it here. It's kind of scary. All right, this is what the game's gonna come down to, huh? It didn't immediately go to hand. All right, maybe we get to recover here. Misses again. Sucks for you. Okay. I think we're okay in the face of this. The Echo's a little unfortunate, but the rest of his units suck. Gotta focus. Can you recover out of this? Like, this is, again, like, why rallies are so important. Is, we annihilated his board. And then he's just going to be able to come in and refill it. I think we may have ended up losing this game if we don't come up with a with a rally to stop all this stuff. Now he's going to have 2 Echoes. Yeah, I think we're dead.
Stay still. I'll stop you.
So we'll get 2 draws now, we'll get 2 draws next turn. Yeah, I think we're done. And a second crystal. Okay. Man, that's unfortunate. Like, to have them, like, low roll so hard and still not be able to close out the game. It feels pretty bad, but we did make some mistakes in there, right? I think that Proto-Poro turn was pretty pivotal in us losing that game. And then also... I think that, like, clearly illustrates what I talk about, the importance of having rallies, overwhelms, and elusives, right? We make this completely big attack. He just says, herder, okay, I block everything, and now I'm going to continue to do my thing, and you don't actually deal any damage. And so what you really have to have happen is you make that attack, and then you rally, and then the second attack comes through when the board's completely clear. What is that? Is that Leona? Like Battle Academia Leona? Okay. They got all these new skins coming out now. It's tough to keep up with. I can't remember what the new ones were. I'm not familiar with the event that's about to come at us. They have some new event that was announced for the middle of July. I'll have to see who comes out and what neat things happen with it. Star Guardians? Was it a Star Guardian thing? I think it was Star Guardians. Yona Yasuo Karma. This feels like this is like probably Daybreak stuff. Maybe. Take the Tellstones. If he's playing a curve deck, I feel pretty good about being able to pick up basically all of these cards. So like if he taps out for something and then we get to pop like Leona with a detain. Just like big tempo plays we can make with these things. But this is not the board to be adding Poppy and Lulus to. I'm going to add the Yordle Smith. It's just like we run into quite a bit of trouble if he's if he drops a stun. Concussive Palm's fucking annoying here, but there's nothing we could do about that. I made a lot of mention about not wanting to come out here and make trades, but I'm just not seeing how we get away from it with this board. This feels pretty terrible to do that, but it's like why I wasn't wanting to play Lulu and Poppy. You have to be coming out here and opening and getting your stat stuff right when you attack. If you're giving them the opportunities to drop these bros, then you have some problems. What's Stormcloud? 7-3 impact. Pretty big. Okay. Block. Okay, let's see where this gets us. We should be able to get a full board here. I would rather be giving up Lulu than giving up Poppy, but Ravoon is kind of like exactly what I'm talking about. If he goes into the next turn and dude taps out for Ravoon, and then we're able to we're able to come in and just detain him on their turn. It's pretty big.
What are you looking at me for?
So he only has the one good block onto Poppy. No good blocks onto the Stormcloud. I'm deciding if we want to give up the Broadwing here. I'm pretty sure we do, so that we can attack with Poppy and not lose her. Then we can just attack with this other stuff. We can pretty easily refill here. He'll lose his Tail of the Dragon regardless of what he blocks. Well, we do lose the Stormcloud this way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do either.
These attacks don't feel great if we're not winning on board. Okay.
Your attack is obvious.
Okay. There's the Leona, but like we should get to open with all of our units next turn.
Daylight breaks on the battlefield. Every work demands a piece of ourselves.
Bring in more stuns. I'm glad to see the stuns. That's a focus though, right? But either way, I'm glad to see the stuns come down on his turn than come down on our turn.
If you want something done right, let me do it.
Mother Moon Veil.
There's nothing a good giggle can't fix.
You get Whimsy for next turn. I forget frequently about the strength of Whimsy and getting to use it, but it's gonna be sweet. Yeah, I don't know about the amount of burst stuns that they could have here, but I think we're okay.
Hammer! Whoa, busy.
Smash him to bits!
Poppy boosts the team, even though our dudes are small. We do this. We need to do it this way.
I'm attacking.
Now everybody gets the boost and gets the quick attack. Okay, and then we'll have choices, right? We have the Whimsy, we have the Tellstones. We could pick up a Detain, or we could pick up a Prismatic Barrier. The only thing that worries me here is them just dropping a bunch of stuns.
Sway me. Try to leave a dent.
Do we ever like go after Ravoon in the middle of combat? I don't know. Just it feels like the space to where he's gonna build up to a big like OTK with Leona next turn. I think we just need to save the Detain for Leona.
Bless the faithful and sear the heretics.
Interesting. So let's see what he starts with. I mean, we can... Now we have the mana to both, like, Whimsy and Detain. So he's going to get 2 right now. But we can just go ahead and Whimsy Ravoon. So that should end the Daybreak shenanigans unless he wants to spend another 5. And then we can both... Like, I guess the question is, do we go ahead and Detain Leona as well? Which we probably should. I think we probably should. So the only like downside to this stuff is it's like it's not impossible for him to completely fill out his board again. There's everything. That's all of it, I guess. So it's like he knows he only has to play 2 units to get through this. It's like pretty unfortunate if the day ends with him at 1. Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh, he doesn't attack with the Golden Sister? So we aren't wider than him, which is kind of disastrous, but we're going to have a quick attack hit in on the Golden Sister. How many times has Poppy attacked? There we go. There we go. Oh, this will be Poppy's 3rd attack. Okay. So everybody just gets impact now, right? Yeah. Okay. It's like I saw us pick up the Golden Aegis, and so I had it in my head that we were about to take that down, but then I had to stop and consider when that Poppy was going to hit. And so cool. Not a bad set of 8 games. Let's take a moment. I can get this pulled back up. So yeah, we got some pretty interesting usage out of the Inspiring Light there. We definitely had some boards to where, it's like just very mana efficient stat wise to go for. Is this like the place where it belongs? I'm not entirely sure. Like when I think of like usage with the Inspiring Light, I'm thinking of either units that summon additional units. That's why I think it's pretty good in Scouts, since you have the things like Mirai Warden, and you have the 4-cost Scout that generates a new Scout, or if it would be in something like Fairies, as to where with Fairies you're able to play the Lantern, and then when you have the Lantern on board, you can add additional units to the board pretty much for free. And so, say it's like turn 4, you can put together those chains to where you play the Gleaming Lantern, you play the Grandfather Lantern, then you have a mana left over, and you play the 1-cost the 1-cost Owlcat, and you find these, just 3 units on board for 4 mana and 2 cards. It's not very challenging to fill out the boards completely, but it doesn't have a worthwhile place in these decks. That's where it's kind of a struggle to me. Like I kind of like Inspiring Light here. I thought it was pretty good across the board, but it does add that additional high roll factor to your deck, and it doesn't help out with winning the games. Winning the games in the sense of the overwhelm, rally, elusive kind of thing. And so I could definitely see an argument for a deck like this where you have the Inspiring Light and you're just like, oh, maybe we cut it out for a Relentless Pursuit, a second Shield of Durandi, and then like another dude and call it a day. So you get to kind of like fill in those gaps with the rallies and stuff again. But I think, you know, kind of the big thing with this is the exercise and the thought process and saying, well, we aren't playing Magic, we aren't playing Hearthstone. I don't know how Yu-Gi-Oh goes, but we aren't playing Yu-Gi-Oh either. And we're looking at the constraints and we're looking at the game Legends of Runeterra and how it's different from those other ones, and what concepts we need to kind of like erase from our mind and which ones we need to stick in. And so I think it's a very valuable exercise to try and play cards like Inspired Light. I will readily admit I initially saw it and said, this card's terrible. Never any reason to play this. One and done. I made an impression, get this out of here, never touching it again. And I think revisiting it was pretty nice and pretty important, and it does actually have some strength in a game like this. And so this was the kind of thing as to where we used to pick up on a lot of this playing Expedition, right? You play Expedition, you would get stuck with Inspiring Light. You didn't have any way around it, and you had to play it. And we would find cards like that were surprisingly strong and surprisingly powerful, that coming from a background of Magic and Hearthstone were cards I would never play. But once we gave them a shot because we had to, it came in and kind of changed our opinion on the card. And you know, that was the kind of the deal with Magic, as to where you could draft a card but then just immediately push it to your sideboard. Here you have to play it in Expedition, and that's just kind of gone now, so we miss out on things like this. But I think it was, you know, a pretty good exercise. The real strength to me in these kind of decks is, again, this like early game challengers package, this Fleet Feather Tracker, Brightsteel Protector, Durandi Sculptor, Petricide Broadwing kind of thing, and then it's just building a shell around that. I think this is ultimately why we see a lot of Bard decks these days. It's just that early core of the base Demacia decks is so strong. And then just kind of an afterthought what you attach to that, whether or not it's Scouts or Poppy or Bard or some kind of Jarvan flavored number or Elites, doesn't really matter. It's just that early game package that is the important thing to see. And so I think the Inspired Light was pretty good in that package. Nonetheless, that's going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. You were inspired by the light just a little bit more. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.